Hi, parents. My name is Dr. Stephanie Grant. I'm a developmental psychologist in Holland, Michigan, at an office called Developmental Enhancement Behavioral Health. I'm also a parent myself to both um, foster, adopted, and biological kiddos. We have 5 currently. And so when I think about going back to school this fall, that's certainly impacting our family. And I have had the privilege of supporting a lot of educators and administrators, school administrators, as we are looking to going back into the fall semester with COVID and how that might look. And one of the things that they wanted was to have a short video that they could share with you to provide a little bit of support as well on just some considerations that you might want to have, whether you're thinking about going back virtually or hybrid or in person or just keeping kids homeschooled. And so I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time to chat about that so that you can have a little bit more confidence in how to support your kiddos as we move forward in this. The COVID pandemic is what we would call a global trauma event. It does not mean that it's traumatizing to everyone. Certainly it's not. And I don't want you to hear me say that. There's a very big difference between a trauma event and traumatization, but it is a global trauma event. And it's what we're going to call a generational trauma, that this is something that a generation of people experience, like the Great Depression or, World War II or things of that nature. But the nature of COVID has made this trauma event particularly risky for some families because trauma events do tend to be more likely to lead to traumatization if they feel uncontrollable, if they go on and we don't know if or when they're going to end, and if they separate us from our supports and the people who really care about us. And unfortunately, that's been actually the very nature of COVID. And so there are going to be students, adults that have experienced this not only as a trauma event, but as traumatization. And your schools are trying to figure out how to go back, keeping everybody in mind without leaving students behind, while pushing others forward, while making sure that they do push kids forward who are capable of moving forward. And that has pushed them into a really tricky situation because they're trying to make decisions for families that aren't at all in the same place, more so than ever. So I want to encourage you to have grace with your schools, to know that teachers haven't changed, that they are still the same creative, hardworking people that love your kids and are finding solutions to tricky problems. They have been working so hard over the summer to generate the best possible solutions, keeping all of their kids in mind. And they really are trying hard. If it's not working for your family, talk to your school, but understand that there can't be a solution that is the best for every family. Talk to your school about how it can maybe work a little bit better for your family and if it can be tweaked or not. But try to keep in mind that your teachers and the admin also need some encouragement and grace right now because they really are doing their best and their hearts are in the right place. I want to help you understand that as yuck as this is and as big as your feelings are maybe about this in whichever direction, that you are likely the buffer or the protective barrier for your kids, which can be good or bad because parents can get over capacity too. And so when we think about kids and traumatization and kids being traumatized, it's often the caregiver's response to that event that is the biggest predictor of whether or not it's just something that's going to maybe change them that they're going to get through or whether it's actually traumatizing. And so even if you don't like the plan, even if there are parts of it that you hate, I want to encourage you for the sake of your children to go into this with as great of an attitude as you can have. Now, I'm not talking like being perky, like, yay, masks, everybody loves to wear them. I'm talking about giving space for yuck feelings about like, guys, I know this sucks, but your schools are doing like the best they can to keep you safe and still bring you back into the building. And I'm so excited that they found a way to bring you back, right? It might be that you're trying to explain virtual and it's like, oh, I know you wanted to be with your friends, but your school has decided that this is one of the best ways that they can keep you safe and still teach you. And I'm so thankful that they are finding ways to do that and help them understand that this is just sort of a new normal for right now, that we're going to do this right now because this is the best way to keep people safe and healthy, and or we're going to do this right now because it's the rule that your school has to follow or that we have to follow, even if you don't agree with it. Like, we're going to do this right now and it's just going to be a thing and you don't have to like it. You can come home and complain about it, but it's going to be fine. And I want you as parents to know that kids can adapt to this kind of stuff. Like, maybe you've actually tried masks at home and you've seen that your kids, especially elementary kids, are loving them. Like, they want to play outside in them and their dolls get masked and things like that because it's new and kids are like, this is kind of cool. Doesn't mean they're going to stay that way, but kids will adapt. They're going to learn how to do different things. It's why your kids know that there are different rules. If they go to grandma's house than if they stay at your house. And it's because, like, kids just know that different environments expect different rules, and they're going to figure out that because of COVID, different rules are expected. Don't be scared that your kids are going to be traumatized by all of this stuff, even if it's weird. Like, your kids are not going to be traumatized by seeing all of their teachers in masks. Is it going to make things trickier? Yes, especially if you have kids that already don't read facial expressions very well. But it doesn't mean that they're all going to be traumatized by it. It's okay. It's going to make things trickier, but that's not the same thing. And making something trickier is not the same thing as it being bad or something that we need to avoid. And so I want you to feel confidence in your kids and confidence in your teachers and confidence even in yourselves that you guys can get through this. And it's going to be weird and it's going to be hard, but we're going to be okay. I want you to understand, though, that all of us overall are experiencing some COVID brain kind of stuff. So we're calling that COVID brain, COVID fatigue, because our brains are having to work really differently. And I won't go into all of that right now, but it is a very real phenomenon that very few people are escaping, and kids are experiencing this as well. So because things are changing, because they have to get used to different maybe sensory input from masks or things like that, because they're having to do extra work to read facial expressions when they're masked, or they're only seeing faces and not full body language on a virtual setting, or because things are new, kids are going to be more tired. They're going to be more dysregulated. They're going to have lower capacity, as are teachers, as are you. And that's just kind of what to be expected. That's just what the brain's going to do. It's what the body's going to do. It's neither not right or wrong. So I want you to be prepared to give your kids breaks, to help them recognize those signs in their bodies before maybe we have a meltdown, before they're like, this is stupid, I'm not doing this. That you just give them body breaks, that you allow them to have space, that you focus on that social emotional piece before you push academics. Please understand that the time of a global crisis is not the time to like super prioritize academics. Academics we can get back. We really can. Allowing kids to be impacted socially and emotionally and neurologically by a global trauma is not the right course of action. And even if you're doing a fabulous job buffering for your students, I hope that you can somehow understand that other families don't have maybe the same luxuries that you do to prioritize that or to buffer that as well. And so we need to be thinking about our community as a whole. And I'm so glad that so many schools are taking a community approach to this. But feel free to give movement breaks, to focus on that regulation piece, and to use things that neurologically release oxytocin, that bring bodies into some rhythm. So think about like laughter and singing and dancing and like hand clap games and rhymes and things that you jump rope to, and think about yoga and mindfulness. Think about telling jokes to your kids. Think about playing like the silly dad role or the dad joke sort of thing, and being crazy and kind of weird, and helping students feel, your students feel lower pressure, and all of that's going to help regulate that stress. Bring them into relationship with you. Give extra hugs, extra kisses, massages while they're at the computer desk to help their brain calm down, release that oxytocin, turn off stress, because you're doing things in rhythm and you're doing things in relationship. Okay, so when you are facing a dysregulated kiddo at home, that relationship and that regulation is definitely going to help you. Okay, the other thing that I want you thinking through is to just understand that there is so much that is in our control. And when students are overwhelmed by all of the things that are different, try focusing on all of the things that are the same, okay? And it can be little things like, I know this is different. We're going to be doing school on the computer, or I know this is different. You're going to have to be, masks, and not all of your friends are going to be back in the same classroom. But here's the stuff that's going to be the same. Like, you're still going to get up and get breakfast. You're still going to say hi to your teacher. You're still going to have to do homework that you hate. You're still going to have to, eat lunch. We're still going to make sure that you do recess. We're still going to do this and this and this and this. Anytime we have a change, focusing on what stays the same is going to be in our kids' interest. And so that's another way that you can support this. Your teachers, by the way, are incredible sources of information, as are your school social workers and your principals. So if you find yourself feeling a little bit overwhelmed, or you're not sure how to address something, turn to your teachers. They have been learning so much and are learning so much from other parents and from other staff and from conferences and education that they've been doing. So if you don't know how to do something because of COVID and how this is working out, ask your teachers if they have ideas, because they might. They want to support you. They want to be checking in with you to make sure that your families are okay. If your family needs another resource that isn't school related, access to medical supplies, or food security issues, housing, therapy, contact the school. They often have huge lists of resources like that, and sometimes can be better first lines of response than even like your child's pediatrician. So connect with the school, because they can often get you plugged into resources that are going to be super helpful to your family. Give grace as we move forward to yourself, to your kids. We are going to be trying to do formal schooling again in the middle of a global pandemic. It's not going to look like it did in the spring, where everybody was like, holy heck, what is going on? This is actually us trying to move forward. We're not going to get it right because we don't know how to do this. We have no research to look at. We can't compare to other schools to say what they did well that worked and what they found out didn't work well. And what works well in one community is not going to work well in another community right now, because communities are being hit so differently by COVID. So again, just understand everybody's doing their best. I know you're doing your best. I know your kids are doing their best. I know your teachers and your schools are doing their best. Take a breath, and then we'll kind of move on from there. We're all going to get through this together. I hope you have community supports that you're being able to link into at some point, and that if you don't, you find ways to reach out to those. I have so much compassion for all of you as a parent trying to do this work, and I wish you all the best as we move forward. But remember, your relationship with your kids is going to be one of the biggest predictors of their success this year, whether it's in person or online. So make sure you get the support that you need, the self-care that you need, the community care that you need, maybe the therapy support that you need through this time. And therapy right now, by the way, is often having a virtual option if that's going to work for you. Make sure you don't ignore yourselves, because you are incredibly important to the success of how this goes. I hope you have a great fall.